Hello everybody, my name is Kwok and today I will be doing a presentation on effective communications. So starting off with problems with communicating from other countries, one of the problems I encounter at work so far is the time zone difference. So I work on the Netflix engagement and we outsource some of our work to India, and one of the problems with that is you and the people over there, you never work at the same time. The liberals are often late because there is a time zone difference, so they get information delayed, and we when we want something from them, we also have to wait, the time zone difference on when they get to work. So it's often really hard to get the necessary informations from, like, the teams to get the paperwork done and everything. There's also a language difference and a formatting difference, which is like when they're just like transferring or like sharing data to us, they may format it a different way, and we might not be able to read it or like understand what they're trying to communicate. So that is some of the problems that we face when communicating with other people. Talk about some problems with communicating with teams overseas, but now let's talk about some solutions to those problems, right? So the first tip that I would give is know how to use team or an Outlook effectively at work. You want to know how to set up meetings so you can communicate with them overseas about certain things you want to talk to about in person. You want to know how to check your schedule so you know when you're busy, when you're not, and how to check other people's schedules so you can schedule meetings effectively. You also want to be able to create groups at work. No, a group within teams so you can work with your team and upload those files so everyone can edit, share, and export it if needed. You also want to know how to use Outlook effectively. This means checking your email frequently, replying as soon as possible, and being communicative as much as you can. Tip number two on how to be an effective communicator is at work, you want to establish a universal format for sharing data and presenting information. So, what do I mean by this? So, when you're working across different countries, your way of communicating might be different. The information or how you write the email might be different, in America versus if you're in India or so. So, make sure at work you have a master system or a master format on how you organize area text structures or data when before sending it. So like if I send my information to India, make sure they can read it, and vice versa. Okay, tip number three is before every meeting, make sure you have an agenda and make sure you send the agenda to everyone. The reason for this tip is you want to make sure everyone understand why that meeting is taking place, right? You don't want them to attend that meeting, don't know what we're talking about, and not be prepared. And that's the second part. You want to create an agenda to allow people to know what the subject is so they can be prepared for the presentation, if they're presenting that day. Just make sure they're giving them, the subject so they can get ready on time. To see, the third reason is to see if there's actually a need for the meeting at all, right? Sometimes you schedule a meeting, but without an agenda, you might not know what you're talking about. It might be a blank meeting where you go, you attended, and what do you call it? There's no like objective or like there's no reason for the meeting, so you might as well never have the meeting at all. That's why agenda might help decide if you need that meeting or not. And the fourth one, having an agenda is just a way of respecting people's time. As mentioned before, if you don't have agenda and there's just a blank meeting, you attend it and it's just 30 minutes of like nothingness, it's just a waste of time. So you want to be careful, create an agenda, and respect people's time to make sure everyone is getting something out of this meeting. Last tip I have when it comes to effective communication, especially overseas, is be that person that is understanding. So when you work across countries, it can be very hard to be communicative, and sometimes there are delay and there are problems that arise. You want to be the person that they come to first, not come to last. So if there's a problem, you want to be an effective communicator, and you have to recognize that there's a difference. And if you show them that you recognize that, and have an understanding, and try to resolve the issues, you'll be a successful communicator. That's it.